You know what really grinds my gears?
But for me, kid growing up in Chicago, coming out of a bad neighborhood, people thought I'd never do anything. And here I am sitting in front of you guys, and the only sad thing the only regret I have about this game at all is that I know I could have done so much better if I could have played. But then again, that's 2020. Something else could have happened. I mean, who knows? But I think that anybody who knows me, including my teammates, know that every time I put the uniform on, that I laugh and joke with the opposition, but when it was time to get it on, I got it on, and I gave it everything I had. And I'm proud to say that I'm a Minnesota Twin. You know how some people say they bleed the Yankee pinstripes or the Dodger blue? Well, whatever you want to call this, I won one uniform in my career. And I'm proud to say that. It's a tough day for me because I can't sit here and lie to you and say that I'm not going to miss the game, because I am. I've missed it ever since March 28th when I haven't been able to perform. I've been a Minnesota Twin for this is my 13th year, and I'm proud to say that I've played with a lot of pride and a lot of class and integrity when I put the uniform on. And that's the part I'm going to miss the most.
On this day, 27 years ago, Minnesota Twins legend Kirby Puckett was forced to retire. Kirby Puckett is one of, if not the greatest Twins players of all time. Kirby was fun to watch growing up as a kid in the 80s and a teenager into the 90s. Kirby was a part of two World Championship teams for the Twins, 1987 and 1991. 1991 is arguably the greatest World Series of all time. It was what a matchup. The Twins against the Braves of Atlanta. It went down to Game 7, and the Twins were on the verge of elimination in Game 6. They took the first two games of the series before going to Atlanta and losing all three in Atlanta. And with them on the ropes, Kirby said to the team, "We got this. Jump on my back, and we're gonna go. We're gonna win." Game 6, what a great game that was. The catch, we robbed Atlanta of a home run. Well, it would have hit off the top of the plexiglass, but he caught the ball jumping over the fence and then almost doubling up the runner.
And deep to left center. Back is Puckett. He's at the fence. He leaps up. He caught it. Oh, what a catch. Here's the throw back to first, and safe is Pendleton. Oh, Kirby Puckett with a great grab in left center field. This capacity crowd going wild with the defensive play of the series. Puckett in left center actually climbed the wall and made a fantastic leaping.
And then, of course, the home run to send the Twins to the next night.
He's to the line, and the left-hander delivers. Puckett swings and hits a blast. Deep left center, way back, it's gone. The Twins go to the 7th game. Touch 'em all, Kirby Puckett. Touch 'em all, Kirby Puckett. And the Twins have won this game 4-3 on a dramatic home run by Kirby Puckett. He's just now getting to the plate, and he touched it amidst all his teammates, and the Twins win the game.
Which the Twins would go on to win thanks to a magnificent performance from Jack Morris. Pitched 10 innings, and then they got the game-winning hit at the bottom of the 10th to win it. 1996 was a interesting year. The Twins just signed hometown legend and future Hall of Famer Paul Molitor to the team. They looked good in spring. Kirby was looking great. He was doing well. And then one morning when Kirby woke up, he couldn't see out of one eye. I should go back a year before, 1995 season. Kirby's season ended when he got hit in the head by a pitch from Dennis Martinez of the Indians. What a thing that Martinez to this day regrets. He said he had no intentions of hitting Kirby, and I believe him. They're good friends. They were good friends over the years, and it was just a freak accident. It was a freak thing that happened. So I don't blame Dennis Martinez in the slightest. Things happen, pitches get away from people, but it's believed that's not what the root cause was of how it started. But anyways, Kirby wakes up, spring training, one morning, 1996, no eyesight, gets checked out, they do a bunch of tests, season starts, Kirby's on the IL, which is a rarity for him. He hardly ever missed games. And then on July 12th of 96, they announced Kirby was coming back to Twin Cities, and they were going to schedule a press conference. I remember I was watching this on TV, and I think my mom was there too that day. She had the day off from work that day, or she was working on a later shift. I don't remember, but I do remember we were watching TV. They announced it on the TV or on the news that there was going to be a press conference, so we turned it on. My mom, she liked watching the Twins once in a while. She wasn't an avid watcher like me and my dad were. Dad was at work, so it was just me and Mom. So we sit down to watch. They break in. All the major Twin City stations break in and show the plane landing. And they show Kirby and his wife and a few others getting off the plane and meeting Twins execs on the tarmac. They actually had a limousine or a car right on the tarmac. Kirby didn't have to go through the airport. They picked him up on the private side of Minneapolis. So they show Kirby getting off the plane, and he's got his sunglasses on. You can see the patch underneath the sunglasses on the one side. And then they show his wife, Tanya. And they show her hugging Twins executives, greeting them. And you can see her crying. You can see her face. I'm sitting there with my mom, and I look over at her, and my mom's looking at me, and then they're like, this is bad. If this was good news, she wouldn't be crying like this. They'd be all smiles and be like, this is going to be okay. But the moment they showed Kanye getting off the plane and hugging Twins execs, and she's weeping, you had to know this was it for Kirby Puckett. And sure enough, they did the press release. He did the live conference at the Metrodome. All the sports writers and TV sports personalities were there. National media was there. Twins executives. All the players were sitting there in that room. All his teammates. And Kirby announced his retirement. When I grew up watching the Twins and baseball in general, especially in the 90s, when I got into my teenage years and I started to play sports, particularly baseball, I played 2 years of Pee Wee, 4th and 5th grade, and then I kind of took a break. And then when I got into 10th grade, I got into sports again. Originally, I was going to do football, but then I'm like, I'm not really gifted at anything. And then I thought about track and field because I could run pretty good, but then I just thought, I don't want to do all the other stuff. I don't want to do shot put, hurdles. I hated hurdles, especially in Phi Ed. And there was other things I just didn't want to do as a part of cross country. But then I thought, baseball. I love baseball. I used to play it in grade school a couple of years. I play it all the time in the backyard with my friends. I'd always go out in the backyard and just play by myself, just throwing a ball up and hitting it, throwing it against the wall, working on my craft. And I told my parents I want to go play baseball again. And I think my dad got excited too, because baseball was his favorite too, and still is to this day. And we'd always play catch in the backyard too. Whenever we'd be grilling out back, after the food's been cooking for a while, Dad and I grab our gloves, we'd throw the ball back and forth, have a good old time. So I decided I want to play baseball. So I started playing baseball, and it's because of Kirby and two other players I followed. My two other favorites at that time were Kent Herbeck, first baseman for the Twins, and Paul Molitor. Molitor started his career with the Brewers, and then he went to Toronto to win a title there, and then eventually came here to Minnesota to finish out his career. And I studied those three, but mostly Kirby was the one I studied the most. His hustle, his drive, the way he played the game, his love of the game. Anytime he was at bat, it didn't matter if it was a ground ball or a blooper or a deep drive. Kirby hustled his ass off. He always did that. He never hot dogged it. And he had told the younger players, don't ever just trot it out. You never know what's going to happen. It could be an easy ground ball to third, and the guy can muff the play or overthrow it into the seats, or overthrow first base and it goes careening into right field. Hustle out every time. And I took those words to heart. Whenever I was at the plate or whenever I was in the outfield, I never hot dogged it. I played exactly like Kirby, even though I wasn't as talented as he was. I was a average hitter. I didn't get to play much. I was mostly a bench player, but when I did play, I was okay. I think my first season, I was terrible at the plate. I was still getting my bearings. That was my sophomore year, and I was actually on the B squad. There was two squads. There was the high school varsity team, and then they had the B squatters. Basically, we were the minor league team, where the extra guys go that there's no room for. I was on the B squad, and I didn't do too well at the plate. I think I maybe got a hold of a couple pitches, but nothing major, just a couple contact swings here. But my second year was pretty much the same story. I was a bench player, but I was on the varsity team, so I was mostly just backup. And my batting, I didn't get many at-bats. The coach noticed I was a better outfielder than I was a hitter. I would do good in practice, but there's a difference between practice and live action. Because even in live contact practices where our own pitchers were throwing, I could get a hold of some good stuff. So I was making progress, but I just wasn't. When I faced other people I didn't know, other players from other teams, I was always struggling. But I was getting better. I was making contact finally. Even my outs, I wasn't striking out. I don't think I struck out my last year, actually, now I think about it. I only had 3 at-bats that were counted in 1997. It was the summer of 97, my junior year. I didn't have any strikeouts, but I had a couple ground outs, and then I had my one and only hit that year. It was in a subsection playoff game, which I'll get into in a little bit here. But any of those outs I had, particularly in my last one, after I got my hit, I remember I grounded out to short. It was just a little ground ball to short or whatever it was. I hustled that sucker out, and I almost beat the guy out. By the time the guy got the ball, I was almost to first base, and I saw him. I saw where the ball was, where I was, and I was charging. And I think when he saw me charging, that's when he whipped it over real fast, and they barely got me because I heard my first base coach say, "Oh, you almost got him there. Good hustle." They said, and then my manager, my coach, told me that was good hustle, good job. Even though it was an out and nothing happened, it showed some heart and some grit, and a couple of my teammates saw that and slapped me on the back, said, nice job, good try. But my hit was the special one at an RBI single. This was a blowout when we were playing. I think the team was Lakeview. We blew them out. We had the mercy rule. We scored over 20 runs. I know that, and I think at least everybody on the lineup and the bench got a hit. And I got it on tape, on cassette tape. My dad taped the local broadcast of our game, and I got on tape the audio. But I know I had like a 4 or 5 pitch at bat, and the pitch before my hit, I actually roped one down the left field line. I had 2 guys on base at the time, my at bat, and I roped it down the left field line. I went opposite way, and it hit the chalk. It hit the foul line. It kicked up some chalk, but they called it foul, which is BS, because if it hits the foul line, it's supposed to be a fair ball. But I just choked up on the bat, and then I hit it right back up the middle next pitch and got a single. My hitting was based Kirby's swing. When I watched Kirby, he was a nice short compact swing, but he had the high leg kick. I was skinny but I was tall and very tall and lanky and quick. So I didn't want to be a hitter like Kirby. I just wanted to be like a contact hitter. So that's why I studied Paul Molitor. He had the nice swing and contact, and occasionally, once in a while, he'd hit the long ball. He'd get a hold of one and drive one. So my hitting was based off of Paul Molitor. I pretty much used his stance and his way of swinging. I studied him the most because I wanted to switch up my swing the second year, because my first year was just garbage. I was trying everything and just not working. And I was watching Molitor hit, and I'm like, he's got a great swing. So I studied him. So he was my hitting coach, mentor. But Kirby, for everything else, base running, outfield, whatever, just being an overall gentle human being and being nice and being a team player, that was all about Kirby. And I even had my own Kirby Puckett moment that year in the outfield, where he made the catch. I made my own catch in what was to be my last game as a high schooler. This was that summer. School had ended, and now we started the summer leagues. We had the American Legion team, so I was part of that too. And it was my last game with the team because I was going to have surgery later on, have my wisdom teeth pulled, and I was also going on vacation to Michigan. This was summer of '97. And at that time, I didn't even know it was going to be my last game, because when we came back from vacation, we found out my dad lost his job and we were going to be moving. So that pretty much ended my career, unless I decided to start playing again up here. But by that point, I was checked out when we moved up here. My last year is my senior year of high school, and I was pissed off because we were moving. So I didn't give a shit, and I didn't want to play baseball. I was so pissed. But playing Legion ball, I'm in center field, and one of the opposing players hits a drive to the left center field gap. It's more closer to me than his left fielder, but it's still a good gap. And I'm actually playing a little in. I was told playing, and then the guy just launches it, and I'm like, I just instinctively, I could see where the ball was heading, and I just took off like a gazelle. And I just remember running towards the ball. It's going up, 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 up. I look, I'm running like this, and I see the ball start to go over my head. And I turn my back to the infield, and I just remember, I don't remember looking up for the ball. I'm just like, oh crap, it's gonna get past me. So I just go for it. I just jumped up, glove in hand, and then I felt a smack, and I squeezed the glove, and I come down, and I look, and I can hear the cheers in the background. And I'm like, Henry! And I look down, and I'm like, there's the There's the ball. It's like the little kid in the Pizza Hut commercials back in the late 80s, early 90s, which is on the there's a commercial of that on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie on the VHS before the movie starts. They show that commercial. This little kid who's just like, he just raises his glove and catches the ball, and he's the hero. And that's what I felt like when I got the ball. I looked like, oh my God. So I turned around and quickly threw in the infield. I think there was a guy on base. And I think the guy had to go back because he thought it was going to get by me. And the guy had to scramble, get back. And I just remember my teammates just cheering me on. Then we had another ball that got hit out to me. This was a hit. It dropped. It got through the infield. And I grabbed the ball and I went to go transfer it to my hand and I bobbled a little bit. But I got it in no problem. And I think one of my teammates that was out there, my right fielder, I think it was Jerry, my teammate Jerry Dago. I think he said, calm down, relax. We know you're excited about the catch, but gotta focus, because he saw me bobbling it, even though it wasn't an error. But he kind of reeled me back in, and I appreciated that. He said, just calm down, you got this, you're fine. Relax. And then the next batter was just a little lazy pop fly to me, like a pop up and easy. Catch it, brought it in, got high fives and slaps on the back. Coach gave me a high five and a slap, and that was my last career play in high school as outfielder. But it's play like that because of Kirby, because of his hustle, his dedication. Do not take a play off. You play it like it's your last, and I did that. He was one of my three idols growing up as far as baseball. This Twins team has not recovered since his retirement. When he retired, that just was a gut punch to the franchise, and they never came back. They lost so many games. It didn't turn around until Gardenhire took over, and then the team was still struggling a little bit. They were facing contraction from baseball. The league wanted to get rid of the Twins and the Expos and go back to 28 teams, but it got shot down because the Twins had a commitment to the Metrodome, so they couldn't just get out of it. The league would have to pay that, and they just realized we're just going to leave it. And then the Twins started getting some better players, and they started making the playoffs and started doing better, but they never got over that last hump. They never got over getting past the ALCS into the World Series again. They haven't been back since 1991, which is mind-boggling. It's been 32 years, and the Twins haven't been back. This type of player, this man, this leader is what seriously lacks on the current team. There's no one in that locker room right now that's going to say, jump on my back, we got this, guys. Not one. Nobody in that locker room has any fire like Kirby Puckett had, or drive. And if there is one, they ain't speaking right now. This team seriously lacks leadership from top to bottom, and it needs to change. What they need to do is they need to show that clip of Puckett with the catch and the home run and the comments that he said about that day. Jump on my back. We got this. He drove that team to championship glory. Guys like Buxton, Correa need to step up. Be the team leader. You're the veterans. Be a team leader. Suck it up and let's go. Whatever's going on with Buxton and his leg issues, I don't know what's going on. He hasn't played center field all year. The Twins are being very quiet about it. Something's up. I think the Twins are starting to realize they made a mistake re-signing him to an extension. I think they're making a realization they made a mistake signing Correa back. There's a reason why the Mets and the Dodgers both backed out of their contract deal with him. They didn't need to re-sign Carlos Correa. They have tons of talent at shortstop they could have filled in. Royce Lewis, he was doing good this year. He was back from an ACL injury. He got hurt again. He's got an oblique strain. That's just bad luck. I get it. I love the kid. He's got talent. He was raking it, doing well. So I'm not putting blame on Royce Lewis. There's so much the kid can do. He keeps getting hurt. But at least he's not swinging the whaley, swinging at everything and hot dogging it like the other guys have been doing. We got so many young talent down there. Max Kepler at right field has been absolute garbage since 2019. That's his last year he was that good. Was 19. Then he got his payday, and he's sucked ever since. He has no heart. He has no business being on this team. They should have DFA'd him or traded him a long time ago. They got a kid down in St. Paul right now by the name of Matt Wallner. He's a right fielder. He plays outfield. Kid's raking it up. He's doing well. They called him up earlier this year to fill in for some injuries. He was doing great. They keep sending him down. He's still in St. Paul to this day. And he's just having the time of his life, but yet he can't get a break up here because the Twins love their veterans. Well, I'm sorry, but the veterans suck right now. They have no energy and no drive. I know damn well if Kirby Puckett was here to this day as a coach or a mentor of this team, and he's seeing what's going on here, and he's seeing those kids down in AAA that are having a good time, and even in Wichita, there's some good talent down there too, our AA affiliate. Puckett would be raising hell. He'd be like, what the hell is going on here? We need a leader on this team. Even the manager, Rocco Baldelli, is a joke. He's not a leader. He's a terrible manager. It was a terrible hiring to begin with. He's straight lightning in a bottle once. He's been garbage ever since. He makes terrible management decisions. He makes head-scratching decisions. I don't get it. Sometimes he'll defend his players, but I'm sorry. I don't like the man. I think he's a terrible coach. I think they need to make changes now. They need to fire him. They need to get rid of a lot of these players and hit the reset button. The motto should be, what would Kirby do? Or be like Kirby. He was the heart of this team, and we haven't had a heart since then. The closest we had was maybe Joe Mauer. But Joe Mauer wasn't very vocal. He was very quiet, relaxed. I appreciate Joe Mauer. I wish he was a little more vocal like Kirby was. Kirby was very vocal. He was pissed at times. He was fired up. Hell, when they traded Rick Aguilera to the Red Sox one year, Kirby was pissed. He went on the record. He went on TV. They showed a clip of him, Channel 4, CCO TV. He was mad. But the cool thing was, at the end of that season, or the season after, we got Rick Aguilera back. He came back to the Twins. I do remember that. He had a couple stints with the Twins. The first stint was when they traded Frank Viola to the Mets for a haul, and he was a part of that deal. And Rick Aguilera was a part of the team. I liked Ricky. Ricky was a good pitcher. He was a good closer. We need somebody like Kirby to fire these guys up. What a legend Kirby Puckett is and was. And, of course, sadly, we lost Kirby Puckett. He passed away way too early. But he'll forever be known as one of the greatest Twins players of all time.